Welcome to the Meat Mistress podcast. I'm your host, Emma Butler, and this is my audio diary of life on the farm as a full-time farmer, wife, and mother, not always in that order. And oh yeah, I also own and operate a butcher shop. Thank you for giving me a few minutes of your time as I chat all things farming, small business, and more. Okay, if you saw the title of this podcast, I'm going to dive in a little bit more and explain to you why I believe, and from experience, that events will cost you money, but in the long run, they're going to make you money. Let's just dive in. This will be a quick one, I hope, for your sake. Let's go. Okay, so if you have a business, if you are just starting your business, or maybe you're a couple years in and now you feel like your business is at the right spot or the right time to host an event. If you're thinking of that, I know, because I was an event planner in my past life, I know that it is fun. It is so fun to plan an event. It is stressful. There's a lot of elements. There's a lot of uncertainty because you don't know how it's going to pan out. If your event's outside, you don't know how the weather's going to be, all the things, but it's fun. Like you almost do get a little bit of a high off of it, right? Like it's that adrenaline. As you're executing the event, it's so amazing to see it all come together. All of the things. I get that. Events are fun to plan. However, what I wanted to dive into with you a little bit about is more about the nuts and bolts and logistics of hosting an event. So I'm here to tell you, my friend, if you are looking at hosting events, maybe on your farm or at your business, what have you, it is going to cost you money, period. And I implore you to not anticipate to make that money back. And here's why. So an event and running an event, hosting an event, all the things that coincide and hand in hand with an event, costs money. The first thing that you absolutely have to do is you absolutely have to call your insurance company. Number one, call your insurance company, tell them that you're having an event, tell them that you're having a party, make sure you up that liability. You can get something to the note of like party insurance or something. Like there are different things provided by your insurance company. You have to call them because your regular like business insurance, or maybe you have just a little store or a farm stand or whatever right at your home, your regular like day-to-day walking around insurance is not going to cover events. And you are going to need that. It's not a if something goes wrong, it's a when something goes wrong. You have to make sure that you have all the nuts and bolts in place to protect your guests and to also protect yourself, your business, and inevitably your home. Especially if you were not an incorporated business. So I'm speaking from Ontario, Canada. If you are like a sole proprietor and you're just kind of operating under yourself, you definitely need the insurance for sure, because the liability is all on you no matter what. And even in your business, even in the structure of your business concept, the liability is all on you. If your business is growing a little bit bigger, which ours did, and you decide to incorporate, a little bit different, but at the same time, you are going to want to call your insurance company first and foremost. So that is going to be one of your first expenses is insurance, and you have to have that. The second thing that's going to cost you money right up front is going to be more the logistical things of your event that you're going to need to make them run. So things like washrooms. You have to have a porta-john or an outside bathroom of some kind. Maybe you have a dairy barn and you have like a washroom that's fairly accessible and you're going to direct guests to use that. That's fine. But maybe you have a chicken barn and, due to biosecurity, you can't have people go in and around the building. So you need to get a porta potty. Even just logistically, and again, for the comfort of your guests, I would make the investment in having a portable washroom facility. So even at our farm store, we do have a washroom that customers can use on a regular basis. But when we host events, I get a porta-john so I have more facilities outside, because you never know the scope of people that are going to arrive. You don't know, if they're coming with families, if you got kids and stuff like that and you're going to an event, you need a place to take these kids to the bathroom, etc. So that is an element that is going to cost you some money, is having a washroom accessible. The second thing that's going to cost you money in terms of logistics is food. Typically, that's probably something on your mind is, we're either going to serve food or we're going to have a food truck, food vendor of any kind. In all my years of planning events, have not met a food vendor that will come for free. If you are a food vendor out there and you are not charging money to go to people's events, you, my friend, need to start charging money. Please do that. For you, your sake of yourself, you need to do that, because none of your sales are guaranteed. But as the event host, please do not assume that they are going to come for free. It's a little bit naive and a tiny bit ignorant to think that somebody that has a business would come and do something for you for free. So don't expect that. Expect to pay them $400, $500, $600 to come to your event. Plus, they are probably going to run their own sales. So yes, on top of that, they will be making money at your event. But it is something that you have to have, honestly. Like when you have the public coming and people coming and stuff like that, you really should and kind of have to lean in again into that experience of the people that are going to attend your event. And you should have some kind of refreshments for them. Now, I guess I shouldn't say the food vendors won't come for free. It depends, I guess, of the nature of your event as well, too. So say you're hosting a charity event of some kind and all the proceeds are going to a charity, then maybe that's a situation where they will come free of charge or, in lieu of as their donation. But I do implore you to put that in your head that a food vendor will cost you money. Toiletries and outdoor facilities like that are going to cost you money. And those are two things that you do sort of have to have. I'm not saying you could go without them. You can try it, but you want your guests to have the best experience with you. You want them to come to your event and it be memorable for them and them to have all of the things that they need. This is especially important if you are a rural business. So if you are a rural business where you're not near any towns, like if there's not a Tim Hortons or a McDonald's or something like right beside you, or like a gas station, you know what I mean? If you're inevitably in the middle of nowhere, like we are here at J&E Meats, we are in the middle of nowhere. There's no towns around really. We're not on a bus route, like all of the things. You have to bring those elements and have them available to your guests. So even myself in our farm store, we do sell things like snacks and sodas and stuff like that people definitely could come and enjoy and purchase during our events. But again, I want that customer experience. I want them to have a great time at the event. I want them to be able to have like a hot meal or hot food or a cold drink, or if they're there with their kids, have the stuff that they need for the kids. And again, during an event too, logistics matter. So at our business in particular, I can't have 60 people in my building. That's too much. And we have a fairly large store, but I can't have 60 people in there all waiting to use the bathroom or all waiting to get a drink. So for even ourselves, when we have events, we do hire either like a catering company or a food truck. We've done things like, a big water trough, like a cattle trough full of water bottles and ice and stuff like that. Like you can offer complimentary snacks and drinks and stuff as well too, depending on the type of event that you're having. If you're having something a little bit more private or a little bit smaller, then maybe sure you go that route. But again, that's an expense. Doing a whole cattle trough full of water, that could cost you between ice and water, stuff like that. Like that's going to cost you at least $100. Same with complimentary snacks, stuff like that. Like that is all an added cost to your event. So just going to recap quickly about the insurance and the washroom facilities and food. Those are three elements that I would say most events are going to have. And those are going to be out-of-pocket expenses. So those are going to be upfront expenses that you pay for out of your business money right off the bat. Like I'm talking months before your event. This could be 4, 5, 6 months out from your event date. you are probably going to be putting forward these expenses. So be mentally prepared to put those expenses out there into the universe. So then a tier down from that is going to be your expense that you're going to have because you are going to want to bump up your inventory. So if you have something to sell, say you have a roadside stand and you're selling, I don't know, homemade bread. Say you're making bread and you're selling that. You are going to want to have a lot of loaves of homemade bread on the day of your event. You see where I'm going with that? So in our farm store, when we're hosting an event, I make sure weeks before, when all the other elements are already in place, the bathrooms, the insurance, the food truck, everything else is lining up in that respect. I make sure in our store that we're bulking up on inventory, that we're setting cuts aside so we have lots to offer, that I'm ordering extras of, the barbecue sauces and the spices and the milk and the cheese and the other things that we offer for sale already in our farm store. I'm making sure that there are lots of them because you're going to have an increase in people, an increase in shoppers. People are coming to your event typically with the mindset of they're going to pick up other items while they're there. So you want to make sure you have lots of them. In our case, we have an on-farm store and we also have a butcher shop. So that might look like, say I'm hosting an event in the summertime and it's peak barbecue season. So say it's like June. I'm going to make sure that I have lots and lots of steaks available. I'm going to make sure I have lots of frozen steak varieties. I'm going to make sure I have lots in my fresh counter. I'm going to make sure I have maybe steak bundles, stuff like that, because I know that these guests that are going to be coming to my farm store and butcher shop in the summertime for my event, 90% are probably going to want steaks. So I don't want to have low inventory on that item. I want to make sure that I am fully stocked on that item with extras in the back so that everybody can leave there with something that they are looking for and something that they want. So now that you've covered all those expensive elements, the inventory, the food truck, the washrooms, the insurance, now that you've covered all those are the big ones, I would say. Those are the big things. Now you have the other part that comes along with hosting an event, and that is the marketing. That is the advertising for the event itself. And that might look like maybe it's just something simple, like you post it on your social medias. Maybe you have a website and you post it there. Maybe you have an email list and you talk about it a lot there. Maybe you make a little post that says, save the date, and you get things out there in the universe and you start rolling on with your event. It is not enough to post an event one time. I'm sorry, my friend, you are going to have to work. You are going to have to put in the legwork well in advance so people know about this event. And then you want to start channeling your thoughts and a lot of your conversations towards this event because you need people to come. You have put all this money up front and all this time and effort up front. And I will say too, some of that money you're going to put up front, you probably won't get back if you cancel. I'm not saying you won't. I'm just saying you probably won't. So you need to make this event successful, and you need to ensure that comes from telling people about it and getting it out there and talking about it. So maybe that looks like posting on social media, posting on your website, on your email list, all the things. Maybe you can go old school. Don't even laugh because there is nothing stronger than word of mouth in a small town. So maybe you go to Staples Business Depot or something. That's a I don't know how you call it, like an office supply store here in Canada, if you're listening outside of Canada, but maybe you go to an office supply store, you get a bunch of posters printed off and you hang them up around town. Don't scoff, because if you put that at your hairdressers, I promise you people are going to see it and they're going to talk about it. If you put one up at your local coffee shop, they're going to see it. They're going to talk about it. Put it up on one of those cork boards at the grocery store. They're going to see it. They're going to talk about it. Trust me, this will happen for you. Put it everywhere. Those elements, posting on social media, your website, and if you do the flyer thing, those aren't going to cost you any money but your time. And I guess, the couple bucks it's going to cost you to print some posters, but you don't have to do that either. You can print them at home yourself. It's probably more affordable, faster, and better, though, to get them outsourced. But anyway, that's only going to cost you a couple bucks. But in retrospect, those things maybe aren't going to be as big of an investment. They're going to be a larger investment for your time. However, the other thing that you might want to do that is an investment, which will add to the expense of your event, and it falls under the marketing category, is maybe you are going to boost some posts on social media so you can put money towards them on social media. Maybe you're going to pay for some Google ads to get this event out in front of people and get it out in the world. Now, I caution you with that only in the sense that, I don't know how to say it this way, like you don't want to go too big because I don't know about you, but like I can't and don't want 10,000 people at my event. I mean, that would be cool, but I'm not set up for that. Like logistically, I would not have enough porta potties for that. I would not have enough parking for that. I would not have enough staff for that. Like it would be cool, but it would be very stressful, and something like that as well too. You know, if and when you have too many people that show up that you're not expecting, again, that can filter back into the guest experience because you look unprepared, you look shocked, you look all the things. So if it is your first event ever, you might want to just kind of keep it not low key, but maybe you don't go super, super hard. Like maybe you don't throw $100 at a boosted post on Facebook for that. Maybe you just keep it low key. Maybe you put $20 towards it like a few weeks before your event or something. But you can do you can do whatever you want. Do what you are comfortable with. And in my mind, when I'm organizing an event or when I'm kind of manifesting this event, always, always, always manifest to yourself that like it's going to be successful. People are going to come. It's going to be successful. It's going to be successful. People are coming. We're doing this thing. We're going to do it. It's going to be great. The first time you do an event of any kind, I will let you know that doing something for the first time is hard, and it isn't always successful either. Like if you plan on doing this again, if it's something that in your mind you're thinking, oh, I want to do this every single year around this time, then your first one, you just want it to be, I would say like a moderate success is a great success, because then you know what you're doing. You have some footing, you have lots of content, you have lots of photos, maybe you get some drone footage, maybe you make some reels, you get videos, pictures, all that thing. So next time when you want to host it again the next year, you have all this stuff to show people. When you are having your first event that you've never had before, it is hard because you're trying to sell this concept to your customers and to your community that like they haven't seen. You know what I mean? Like it is more challenging, I will say, your first time out of the gate, but please don't let that wear you down or make you think that like, oh, I'm not a good event planner and people don't want to come to my stuff and blah, blah, blah. Like don't get thinking that. Like there's a million reasons why people don't come to your event. Stuff comes up, they have car trouble, they have a funeral, they have their aunt's funeral, blah, 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 blah. Like they forgot they had to work that day. Like there's a million reasons why people can't come. It just is what it is. So focus on those guests that do come and those guests that are there. Like maybe you have less than you were expecting, but if you have less people show up than you were expecting, it's not a moment of, oh, I suck, like this sucks. It's an opportunity for you to get to know these customers better and give them the best customer experience because you already have them there. They're already here for your thing. You can serve them even better because they're already here and there's not 200 of them. Yes, it would be way cooler to have 200 of them, but you were at least prepared for 200. You weren't prepared for 10. So in that instance, it's almost better to be over prepared because you're going to be more successful with the customers that you have. Now on the flip side, maybe on the flip side, you have too many customers show up and you're feeling a little bit underprepared. I'll tell you a story of when this happened to me right now. I'll keep it quick. So one time in my previous life, I did work for John Deere and we were hosting this event and we all kind of agreed, what the cap was for attendees. We really kind of thought based on the other events that we'd hosted that we would maybe get 40 people. Anyways, this was an instance where, and keep in mind too, this was like I say a couple years ago. Now that I'm actually thinking about it, it was more like almost 10. So social media and stuff like that was like in a different place, right? Like algorithm, I don't even think was a thing 10 years ago. Like it's 2024. So this was 2015, 2016. So anyway, regardless, we planned for 40 and we had like 65, 70 people show up. So in that moment, of course, everybody is looking at me because I was the event planner. They're like, what do we do? So we had to do some logistics and we had to like get more water and all that kind of stuff and whatever. We made it work and it was no problem. But in that moment when you have more than you anticipated, I think that's just a reflection of, you know, you made this assumption and you put yourself in this situation where you were underprepared. Like mentally, we were not prepared for that. So from that experience and other ones, I've had other ones, but that's just the quick story I wanted to tell you. From that experience, I have learned in events, like always plan for more people because then you're prepared. If you plan for 200 and you have 120 show up, that is fine. We are so grateful for those 120. We had a great time. The event was perfect. It was really well executed, all of the things. But if 200 people show up, that's okay. That's what we were expecting. Everybody still came. Everybody still had a great time. We thank them so much for being there, all the stuff and things. If you plan for that 200 and you have 300 show up, then that's a little bit overwhelming and it's a learning lesson for next time. If this is going to be a recurring event for you, when you do an event reflection, and I'll talk about this in a minute, when you do an event reflection, you want to kind of go back on everything that you did and be like, why did 100 more people than we anticipated show up? Like, what did we do? What was the sauce that got them to come? Now, an event reflection, so I'll just roadmap this for you. You do all this pre-work, you decide on a date for your event, you get your insurance, you get your food truck, you get all the stuff. Everything's going to happen. Your event day comes, you bang it out, you do a great job, all the things. After your event, even if you're only anticipating that it's going to be a one-time thing, like say you do we did a grand opening at our farm store last year. I'm obviously not having a grand opening again because you really only grand open once. I mean, you can do whatever you want, but I'm only going to do that one time. So we had a phenomenal turnout, all the things. It was great. It was amazing. We had a tractor parade. We had probably close, I would say like 3,000 people there. It was phenomenal. And even after that, even if you have an event that is like intended to be a one-time thing, you still want to sit down afterwards and debrief. Maybe that's with your team and your employees, because that's what I did. I sat everybody down and I was like, let's brain dump everything. Let's talk about everything you experienced, everything that happened, what we really liked, what we could do better, all the things. But maybe it's just you and your husband. Maybe you're not there yet. Maybe it's just you on your own and your dog. That's fine. It is important after every event that you host, whether it's going to be a one-time thing or a weekly thing or a bi-monthly thing, whatever it's going to be. I really, really implore you to sit down and do an event summary, like an event recap. Put everything down, even if it's just a brain dump on paper, on a computer, whatever, of everything that happened, of everything that worked out well, logistics that you liked, like maybe you liked where you put your parking lot, or maybe you disliked it. Maybe you were like, the wheat field did not work. We're going to do this next time. Because even if you say, oh, I'm only ever having an event once you've kind of done one, then you get that little tingle. You get the little itch in the back of your mind where you're like, oh, I could do it again. And then you do it again. So just brain dumping gives you the opportunity to reflect on everything that happened and then just tuck that away somewhere. Put it in a file, put it on your Google Drive and tuck it away somewhere. So when that itch sparks of, I'm going to host another event, like you're going to black out. You're not going to remember months or years down the road what you did last time. So if you have this document, we'll call it, to refer back on of what worked and what didn't, then you can just pull that out and go, okay, yes, this is what we did and this is what we want to do again. And these are the things we want to change and these are the things that we want to improve on. When I do these documents, I also include in there my budget breakdown of all the money I spent up front, all the money I spent on advertising. Like I kind of dump everything there, even wages of like, what did it cost in extra staff or like friends to help or whatever? What was the cost of the whole thing so that I know? Now, referring back to the title of this event, of events will cost you money and you're probably not going to make money on them. The part of this conversation that I really wanted to get across to you is tell you that whole narrative of all the money you're going to put out up front to have said event. And yes, you might have things at your event for sale, like say you're selling meat like I do, or your loaves of bread, or your bracelets, or your flowers, or whatever it is. Yes to all those things. You got people there, you best be selling them something. Maybe you're not having an admission for your event. I feel like it's very hard to have admission for a big event. If you have a small event where it's like more private, then it's more of a ticketed situation, right? Like say you're having a bouquet making class at your flower farm. That's maybe different. You know, you're going to get your money back because you're selling tickets. You only have a certain amount of spots, etc. But if you're having a big event where you're just kind of opening your doors and letting everybody come, you really can't / shouldn't, in my opinion, be charging admission. Mostly because I just don't know how you're going to track it. I don't know how you're going to man it. I don't know, like maybe you have a different setup for your farm. I don't know. If you are, it's fine. No judge. I just think that, you know, me and my husband and my 4 kids, if I'm going to come to your event and if I'm going to pay $30 for us all to come, it better be banging. It better be sick. Like my expectations are very high as a guest. If there is an entry fee, we'll call it. If it's free, my expectations are really low. So if I leave there and I'm like, sick, that was a great time. I can't believe that didn't cost us any money, yada, yada, yada. Then, now this is the part I'm getting to, that's going to plant a seed in their head for just the kind of business that you are and how generous you are and how you let me and my whole family come to your farm or your business for free. We had a great time. Yes, we maybe bought some things there, but we didn't need to. We could have came and enjoyed for free. That's going to plant a seed in my mind about you. So what I'm trying to say is at your event, you might not make any money. You might dump out $2,500 between the marketing and the insurance and the toilet and the food truck and all the things. You might dump out $2,300 or $2,500, $3,000, whatever, and not make a cent back. But at the end of the day, when you're doing that debrief or the next day when you're doing that debrief, don't be like, oh, we lost money at that event. You're going to lose money on your event. I mean, you might not, but you probably will. But don't feel discouraged. Yes, you are. What you're trying to do with your event is get your business out there. Put your business at the forefront of people's minds. People that have never heard of you before will hear of you because you're your event. And maybe if they don't even come, they will have heard of you. And they will have maybe followed you on Facebook. And then maybe they're going to go to your website and maybe they're going to buy something. And then maybe they're going to become your customer. And then suddenly, because of your event that this person didn't even come to, now you have another customer that is paying you money. It's your return on your investment. So your event is like a big, bright and shiny, sparkly PR blades of glory situation, right? Mentally prepare yourself to not make any money. If you do, sick. Again, right? Like if you do, that's awesome. But if you don't feel discouraged, because what it is it's setting you up for success for the future. So next time when you have an event, maybe it looks different. Maybe it is more of like a private bouquet making shop. Next time you have something to sell, when people got to come for free and have a sweet time before, they're going to be in line to buy something from you. They're going to be in line to jump in and buy your meat and buy your bread and do your flour thing and do all that kind of stuff because they got to come either for free before or very low cost or what have you. Like minimal investment for the customer is kind of always what we're going for, so that when we pipe up and have something to sell, that is where they're going to put their dollars. So on that note, the vision that I just want to put into your mind if you're thinking of hosting an event is like, you're not going to make money at your event, but your kickback and this retroactive action that's going to come after your event, it might not come right away. It might be like weeks away. Like say you host an event in March, you might not feel kickback from that till like May, June, but you will feel kickback. And that's the point of the story is that, you know, yes, you put up all this money right away. Yes, you had to put all this time and love and energy and effort into this thing. Yes, I get it. I feel you. Woosah, you got this. But what this is going to do is it's going to help to build your business. It's going to help build your brand. It's going to get you out there in front of your ideal customers, because the people that are going to come to your event are not your haters. You know, they're not the people that side eye you. Those people don't give a shit about you. They don't give a shit about your business. They're only going to hate you from their keyboard, and that is it. They're not coming to your stuff. The people that are coming to your business are new and potential customers that will probably return to buy something from you if they don't already. They're going to be customers and their friends. They're going to be people that are just interested in you. They're going to be diehards that already shop with you. All of the things, like all of the things that an event will do for you is going to literally ping pong ball your business, and you're going to see that come back. Because what we saw and what we've seen at J&E Meets with events that we've hosted is we host said event, and like 4 to 6 weeks later, we get customers coming through the door that are like, hey, I came to your ladies' night, or hey, I came to your grand opening, or hey, I couldn't get to your grand opening. I heard this so much. We couldn't get to your grand opening, but we're so bummed that we missed out because it looked like such a great time. Here we are today to drop $400 because we want to buy something from you, and we wish that we could have come out here before, but here we are now and we're making our trip worth it. I'm going to leave you with this whole pile of information, and you can sift through this as you will. I hope that you can pick out some little nuggets from it and from my past life in terms of things that you need to pull off a successful event. If you want me to dive more into it, I'd be more than happy to do that with you. You can head on over to Instagram. I'm at J&E Meets. You can slide into my DMs, comment on any of our posts, and we can carry on the conversation there if you want. I'm going to leave this with you. I hope this helps you when you're planning your next event, and don't worry if you lose money, because it's going to help you in the long run. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you very soon. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Meet Mistress podcast. I'm your host, Emma Butler. I've really enjoyed chatting with you. Thanks for listening. I can't wait to see you back here again. If you'd like to keep up with all things happening J&E Meets, which is our farm store and butcher shop, you can find us over on Instagram at J&E Meets, and on Facebook as well too. I will talk to you again very soon.